Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Speaking for Life with Tamara, where we pour into the lives of single moms every day. So it is February, so it is Heart Health Month, and at the same time, you know what it is. It is Valentine's Day. It is the month of love. And who are we loving on? Ourselves. Of course, our children. Now, January, it just came and it left so fast. I cannot believe that we are really approaching halfway through February. So time is of the essence for a single mom. So we have to just keep on going. So let's talk about heart health right now, just for a brief minute. You know, so much conversation and chatter is going on with mental health, but we need to add heart health to that conversation. A lot of women don't realize that heart disease is the number one killer of women. So we really need to add that to our annual physical, and we need to move that higher on our priority list because we don't want to forget about it. No one needs to tell us the stress that we endure as single moms. Sleepless nights, tired, exhausted. And one secret that most women don't tell you, even those who get, a decent amount of child support for their children, all of that is nice because hey, our children take money. They got to eat, they need clothes, school activities. But what they don't tell you is for those who even have a good amount of child support, when that child is sick and you're the only one at home with them, or you're the parent that has to get up in the middle of the night by yourself and take them to urgent care, and it takes hours, and this child is leaning on you, and you have to stay awake because you're waiting for that doctor to call your child's name, all the money in the world right then and there is not as important. But being there by yourself and carrying that load, it is heavy and it is stressful. That is one of the reasons why we really have to watch our health. Trying to balance life as a single parent, sometimes it feels like it's a daily dogfight. It is gritty sometimes. It is tiring, even though it is the most rewarding job there is. And we know that, but we still don't get to escape that it is hard and it can be stressful and it takes a toll. I was reading the article in the American Health Association news, and it says single parents group was 1.31 times more likely to be rated as having a below ideal cardiovascular health. Single parenting is a potentially significant public health concern. So we need to change that. So let's try to think of some things that we can do. Hopefully, some of the things that I have learned, I can go ahead and share with you. So deal with your emotional stress, because sometimes if you don't, it can very easily lead to depression. And as a single mom, that is the last thing we need. So for some women, balancing life is really difficult. I understand, I've been there. But you know what? For your sake, not your children, for your sake, you have to figure out a way how to balance that life. When life used to seem like it was coming for me every which way, it just seemed like I would just be punched and be punched, and it got crazy sometimes. But I learned something. And this is what I learned from college. So when I was in undergrad school, I was a computer science student. And so there would be some times because, hey, I didn't have the money. I didn't have parents who had a computer at home. So I would be sitting in the computer science building, and, we got to use the computers. And so if I would be typing, writing programs, and then, I had to print out that long sheet of paper, and I literally would lay on the floor because I was exhausted. And it would be like 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, but I didn't have a computer at home. So I had to stay there. And I was going through it, trying to find out where my errors were in my coding. And then sometimes I used to get so frustrated and so mad because I was so exhausted that I couldn't tell the difference between from and form. I was just so exhausted that I just couldn't see it. And when I got tired and I got exhausted, I just hit the default button, and that would just take everything back to its original settings. That's what I would do when I would get just so exhausted and the computer was just kind of messing up. But I took that same principle and I applied it to my life. So when I was just tired and exhausted, and I just feel like life was just pounding on me and pounding, trying to pay bills, trying to have money for extra resources for tutoring, you name it. When life just seemed to that it was just punching me one time after another, I said, okay, wait a minute, we have to figure out. So I developed my own internal default button. And what I said to myself is next time I feel like that, whenever I feel like that, I had to hit the default button. I had to reset my thinking. So it said, okay, when this happens, Tamara, stop crying. Number one, change that negative talk. One thing I learned from my bishop was storms don't last always. So I would have to keep telling myself that. The next thing I would say, get off the couch. Then I knew it was going to be key. I needed to get out of the house. I needed to change my environment. I need to change the scenery because being in here was just really making me sad because I feel like I was just trapped. So I just had to get in my car, grab my daughter, and then we just left and we would drive. Now, I didn't go to the mall. I didn't go spend money that I didn't have. I know I always had gas in the car. I was pretty good about that. But I knew I needed to change my environment. But this would happen as soon as I would be out driving around the neighborhood or I would be looking at houses, anything that I knew that could lift me up. God always took that opportunity to show me something on the street. I would see somebody, pushing a basket. I would see somebody walking down the street. I would see somebody talking to themselves. I would see somebody stuck on the road. It just always seems like he was showing me something that no matter how challenging things appear to be for me, someone always had it much harder. And what I was experiencing, they would love to be going through that than what they were going through out on the streets. And so, not at anybody else's expense, but it just kind of kept life in check for me. And it would always make me feel a little better. So, try that. So, while things are going good, develop your own internal default. And what that would tell you is as soon as you start feeling, woe is me, because I understand, woe is me. And as soon as those tears started to come, I said, Tamara, I would make myself, I would force myself, even before I enacted on that, I would force myself to say, hey, hit that default button. Yes, it is challenging right now. Nobody's denying that. Nobody's denying that it's hard. Nobody's denying that these tears are serious. I got it. I understand. But if you can develop your own default button that as soon as life hits you like that, you can hit that button and say, okay, stop this, do that, because you already know what's going to make you feel better. And so you can hit that default button and you can just change everything. It takes a matter of seconds. It's a decision. It really is simply a decision. And it can be a split-second decision. It doesn't have to take 10 minutes, 30 minutes to decide, okay, I'm going to get off the couch. No, it is a second decision to say, okay, I am not going to sit here and wallow in this. It is what it is. I've done everything that I can. So now I need to really just change my mindset. I need to do something different. And that's when you say, hey, let me hit that default button and make a move. Okay. So create your own. I promise you, it will help you. Now let's talk about that village, since we're also talking about heart health and also we're talking about love. But let's talk about that village and see how that village can help. So we all know, everybody says that it takes a village to raise a kid. But what happens when that village is small? Well, you have your family. That's wonderful. But you don't have the father's side. You might not. Some do, and that's great. But what if you don't? You're not so fortunate that you have another family, meaning the kids have a family that, you can help unload some of that responsibility. I'm not saying unload your motherhood responsibility. I'm just saying to give you a break. That's it. So what do we need to do? So this is what I would often do. My village was really good. I was very blessed in that side of it. So, but I had to do some work for that village. So what I would do is, for other single moms that were my friends, They love to go out on Friday nights and have a good time. Friday, I was too exhausted from the week. I had a long commute when I drive, and so I was not going anywhere on Friday night. I was staying at home with my daughter. But what I would do is I would offer childcare for my friends who wanted to go out Friday night so they can drop their kids off of here because they were all the same age. And so really, by the time they got ready to go out, their kids were bathed, they were in their pajamas, they would come have a couple of snacks, and basically they were off the bed. So that's what I would do for my other single friends. So I encourage you to try to do the same. See if you can work out something. And it doesn't have to be all Friday nights, but just, maybe once a month, if you have other single moms, and kids are relatively around the same age, that you guys can kind of make an agreement. Hey, once a month, I'll keep your kids on a Friday or Saturday, and you do the same for mine. That way everybody can get out. It may not be a Friday night or Saturday night. It may just be, I need to get some sleep. It may just be, I need to go through my house and do some cleaning. It may just be, you know what? I want to go get my nails done, my hair done. But work that out with another single mom. And it's even better if you can find 3 of them. That way nobody really gets tired. And you know what? You guys can kind of pass that around. But work it out. It worked out wonderful for my friends. Most of the time I would tell them, listen, if you're coming to my house after 1 o'clock, don't bother coming to my house. You come pick those kids up in the morning because I am not trying to stay up all night waiting for you. Have yourself a good time. Pick the kids up in the morning. And so, hey, they had no complaints. That really worked out. Another resource you can do is find out other parents. And the only way to find out that, your kids' friends, if they have parents who are also single parents, and sometimes you can only find that out at the PTA, but reach out, talk to people, talk to who their friends are, and see if you can find out if they have friends and their moms are single parents. Hey, you can kind of work something out with them too, especially if it comes to school activities. You may have to work late. You may have to work overtime. Can you pick the kids up? And you do the same. Now, here's the only problem I see, that sometimes that becomes a problem if one parent starts slacking off. Don't do that. So if you guys can kind of come together and you find out some of your children's friends who might have a parent, male or female, that's a single parent, hey, you guys work something out. So, you don't have to be running home all the time from work, that you guys can kind of say, okay, if you can pick them up this time, I'll pick them up on this time. And just make sure you guys are in constant communication to make sure nothing gets off. But that's another great resource. Now, I was blessed. I also had my church community. So, them youth ministry stuff, I did not want to go to the Dodger game. I didn't want to see any baseball, but they love baseball. And a lot of times the youth ministry, they did that, or they were going camping. So I had a parent, some parents of a friend, they would say, okay, we're taking the kids, this was a church event, but we're going. So if Paige wants to go, she can go with us. And so they would, of course, take her. I meet them. They take Paige. I give them money, and they take her and they bring her home. They live not too far from me. Or I tell them, listen, you don't have to bring her home. I appreciate it. Call me on the way and I can time it, and I'll be sitting at the church or sitting at your house in the driveway, wherever it may be, because I was so appreciative. So I really had a big village that would help me out. But plus, I really had my siblings. And so I got a break. It was nice. Yes, I kept my daughter. I raised my daughter. But of course, she would go camping with my sister and her husband, because they had kids. They were just a tad a year or two older, but and one younger. And so she would go camping with them. So that village is serious. You need that village just to have some a little time away. But now let's also again talk about this wellness, because this is important. So ladies, please, I know I hope you are getting your annual mammograms. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, but I know we need to get our annual mammograms. Please, please do not let that go by. I know some of my friends have kind of let that go, and listen, it is a bigger issue if we wait. So please make sure you have that mammogram done. But something else you need to add to that conversation with your physician is ask them about heart health. Do I need an EKG? What do I need to do? When do I need to start checking my heart? I'm not a doctor. You need to talk to your doctor, but you need to add that on the list with that mammogram because, as I said, it is a number one killer for women. So we don't want to have that. So please make sure that you're also adding that to the conversation when you're talking about your mammogram, when you're talking about your diabetes, when you're talking about your other blood results and stuff that you're checking. Just make sure that you are checking with your doctor, having those conversations to make sure that she's on point, that yes, you're thinking about this now, and when do you need to start checking on this? So that's important. And now listen too, one of the great things about wellness is it doesn't take going to a gym. Yes, I belong to a gym. This year I'm going. But yes, but I know this too. I have a Fitbit. And I walk. So I try to go to the gym a day and I try to walk at least 10 to 12,000 steps a day. Listen, you do not have to be a member of the gym. This is good for our heart as well. Just walk, walk, walk. You're going to walk in your environment. You're going to walk in your neighborhood. You're going to walk up a street. You can go to a park. You can walk. And one thing I used to do when my daughter was in school, and I would, drop her off and pick her up when she was in evening school. But there was it was right next to a field, and they played, the kids. It seemed like it would be thousands of kids. But the one thing great about it, it was well lit, and plus they would have some food selling. But all the kids were there. The parents were there with their kids while they were playing soccer and all kind of sports. And I would walk and I would get my 12,000 steps in easy while I'm waiting for my daughter to get finished with her class. So that was perfect. I used to just read and I'm like, Tamara, girl, bring your tennis shoes. Bring your tennis shoes and just get your walking in. And then I feel like, wow, this is great. So I'm getting two things done at once. I'm waiting for my daughter, so I'm there. So just in case she gets out of school early, we don't have to worry about it because I'm already in the parking lot. She knows where my car is. So she comes out, didn't see me. She knows I'm walking and she can catch me while I'm walking. So that worked out really good. So please make sure you walk. That is something that we can do and it's great for our health. Now, just make sure also that those yearly exams, when you're making your appointment, keep them around the same time so you don't have to think about it. So I generally do mine around May. Sometimes if the mammogram gets a little off, you still try to center it all around there. But try to do it. Some people do it at their birthday, around their birthday, they start preparing. Some, at the beginning of the year, that's when they call their doctors and get their yearly exam. So please make sure, since this is February and this is Heart Care Month, please make sure you're getting your annual physicals and you're talking to the doctor about your heart health. Because you know what? It is, even though, yes, we do it all for our children, but you know what? We have to do it for ourselves first. Because if we don't take care of ourselves, we don't have to worry about it. We're not going to be able to take care of our children. So you really must put yourself first. So now, we have talked about heart care and we didn't talk about Valentine's Day, but let's talk about Valentine's Day just to have a little bit of fun. So, I'm always trying to think of creative things for parents to do that are relatively inexpensive, really inexpensive. So for Valentine's Day, I've never been one that says, okay, I need to wait for my Valentine. No, I am my own Valentine. I love me more than anybody else can love me except Jesus. So I always celebrate it. I love Valentine's Day. I love the red. I love the hearts. I love all of that stuff because I'm a romantic. So I always have celebrated Valentine's. So one of the things that my daughter and I do for Valentine's Day, besides make a mess, we dip strawberries. Do you know how much Williams-Sonoma charges for those strawberries? And I bought them because I love them. But you know what? I can make them for myself because what? It takes what? At the most, 3 ingredients. Some strawberries, some white chocolate, some dark chocolate. And if you don't like one of those, it's just 2 things. It doesn't get much more simpler than that. And somewhere I have a video where I actually showed you guys making some strawberry dip, some dipped strawberries. So that is something fun that you can do with the kids. It's chocolate. Everybody loves chocolate for the most part. Yeah, it can get a little messy, but it's fun. But you know what? It is good. It is delicious. If your family loves strawberries, it is perfect to do for the Valentine's Day. I think those chocolate chip things cost what? Maybe $4 something, $3, $4 for each bag. Okay, so we've spent what? Under $10. Then we got to get some strawberries. Yeah, I think they're about too high for my taste, but I bought them. But they were, at least they were big and they were good. And I think we paid like $5. So under $20, you get 2 baskets. That's a lot of strawberries, you know, depending on how many it's in your family. That's a lot of strawberries. But you just heat that stuff up in the microwave chocolate. You dip those things, put them on parchment paper, throw those things in the refrigerator for a couple of minutes, and guess what? You are now celebrating Valentine's Day. So I made some. So here my little Valentine. This is my little white chocolate. So I picked up this little thing at $1 at the, no. I didn't go to the dollar store, but I know they had them. But I think I picked mine from Michael's. I did. I picked them up from Michael's. And they were still in the center aisle, so they were real cheap. But they were cute. So we just made us some chocolate. We did some white chocolate, some dark chocolate, because I like me some dark chocolate. So, but yeah, that's what we did for Valentine's Day. And of course, we got our Valentine's balloons. And so what? The dollar store? And so for a very inexpensive price, you can bring a little Valentine's Day joy to your children. And you know what? When they're having fun, you're having fun. But shoot, forget that. Sister love her some strawberries. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the month. Please remember to pass the word to your other friends about heart health, so everybody is checking for their heart to make sure they're keeping up with their yearly exams. And so I'm just trying to, since we're celebrating Valentine's Day and we're talking about our hearts, I want to make sure that we're taking care of our real hearts. That's important. So with that being said, I hope you were able to grab some nuggets from something that I shared today. Please don't forget about that default button. I'm telling you, it will really help you if you put it in play when that woe is me comes to you. But I hope you have grabbed some little nuggets or something that can help, that you can share with some of your friends. Please, I am really trying to build my channel. I really am working hard trying to build this channel. And I'll share with you why a little later on. But yes, I am really trying to build this channel. So please like and subscribe and hit that notification button so you know when I'm uploading a video. Until then, keep checking on that heart. And guess what? Forget about somebody else, waiting for somebody else to love you. You need to love yourself more than anybody. So happy Valentine's Day, single moms. Talk to you in the next video. Bye-bye.